Shut up, The Paul Steffen Home has saved hundreds of women and babies since it began its Save Babies One Mom at a Time mission. To save the baby, we must save the mom, too. Please donate today. PaulSteffenHome.org. PaulSteffenHome.org.
Did you know you can opt out of winter? With Vrbo, save up to $1,500 for booking a month-long stay. With thousands of sunny homes, why subject yourself to the cold? Just filter your search by monthly stays and save up to $1,500. Book now at Vrbo.com.
Tu camino hacia la educación para adultos empieza con AEPP. Te ayudamos a encontrar los programas que mejor se adapten a tu rutina. Saber más en nyset.gov/adulted. Este es un mensaje del Departamento de Educación del Estado de Nueva York.
Taylor's $3.7 billion proposal represents a 5% increase over the current operating budget.
It is a robust ask,
but a smaller increase than the previous year.
Compensation and benefits that makes up a little bit more than 3.5% of our 5% increased ask.
He says it also factors in inflation and reduced class sizes. Frederick County is launching a pilot program to put cameras in several special ed classrooms.
The list includes 4 elementary, 2 middle, and 1 high school classroom for the purpose of supporting safety, not to surveil staff or students. Still, the move does come after the arrest of an instructional assistant charged with sexually abusing multiple special ed students in classrooms. The county says the cameras will only record video, not audio, and the recordings will be stored on a secure, closed network with strictly limited access. FCPS points out there are already cameras installed in hallways, outside buildings, and on buses, and all 3 school employee unions have signed off on the program. John Matthews on WMAL and WMAL.com.
You won't hear paper or plastic in the checkout line anymore in Montgomery County, which is outlawing plastic bags and doubling the tax on paper ones.
It replaces the existing carryout bag tax law that the county has.
County Executive Mark Elrich says the 10 cents per paper bag will go to the local Clean Water Fund and the plastic ban will reduce pollution.
These plastic bags wind up everywhere. They're very light, they blow very easily, They wind up in our creeks. They wind up in our parks. And you still see them hanging for trees occasionally.
Howard says there are some exceptions with plastic bags allowed for meat and fish, bulk items, and the dry cleaner. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
President Trump signs an executive order reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 controlled substance, putting it in the same category as Tylenol with codeine. The lower classification will allow research to be done on potential medical benefits of the drug.
For decades, this action has been requested by American patients suffering from extreme pain, incurable diseases, aggressive cancers, seizure disorders, neurological problems, and more.
Dozens of Republican senators signed a letter earlier this year urging the president not to make the change. Checking your money, the Dow closed up 65 points, NASDAQ up 313. Traffic and weather next.
Ever wish buying a home was as easy as clicking your heels 3 times? At Northern Credit Union, we know there's no place like home. We offer first-time buyer programs with no closing costs, VA, USDA, seasonal, new construction, and many other loan options. If you're dreaming of home ownership, Northern will help you get into your new home in 3 clicks of your heels. Getting approved is quick and easy, and with our meet or beat rate guarantee, you know you're getting the lowest rate possible. Our team is here to help you along the yellow brick road to home ownership with honest advice, personalized service, and support every step of the way. Click your heels or just call or text, because at Northern, there's no place like home. Northern Credit Union, mortgage magic in the real world. Call or text 315-782-0155 or apply online at mynorthern.com. Federally insured, NCUA, equal housing opportunity.
Your path to adult education begins with AEPP. Whether it's preparing for your GED, building your reading and writing skills, or discovering apprenticeship opportunities, learn more today at nysed.gov/adulted. A message from the New York State Education Department.
CDC recommends that people age 65 and older and those with moderate or severe immunocompromise receive a second dose of COVID-19 vaccine 2 to 6 months after their last dose. Schedule at kinneydrugs.com or walk into any Kinney pharmacy.
The Mega Millions jackpot is getting mega huge. Head to your favorite New York Lottery retailer and grab a ticket today for your chance at a massive win. Currently over $200 million. Good luck, New York. Please play responsibly.
Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
On 270 northbound before I-70 in Frederick, there was an accident blocking the 2 left lanes, and this is causing very slow traffic through the area. Delays begin at 121, and also heavy traffic northbound between Shady Grove Road and Middlebrook Road. And you will find delays on the spur southbound between Democracy Boulevard and the Beltway. Beltway still jams up on the inner loop from 123 towards the 270 spur, and from Old Georgetown Road all the way to Pennsylvania Avenue. Some delays on the inner loop through Oxon Hill from 210 towards Route 1. And the outer loop still heavy through Bethesda, Tysons, and from the Springfield interchange to the Wilson Bridge. In Fairfax, there is still a crash on the southbound Fairfax County Parkway just after Lee Highway. That now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Tonight, rain, lows in the 50s. Right now in Washington, it is 53. I'm Heather Curtis on WMAL.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
in here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. President wants to change the name of the Kennedy Center to the Trump Kennedy Center. The board voted to do that. I object to this. I think it should be called the Trump Reagan Center. Don't you, Mr. Producer? No offense. No offense. No offense. This thing with the Somali community in Minnesota is beyond belief now. The U.S. Attorney has announced new indictments. Half of more of the $18 billion paid out by Medicaid in Minnesota may be fraudulent, says the U.S. Attorney. You know how hard it must be to steal over $9 billion? I mean, this is sick. About half or more of the roughly $18 billion in claims paid out by Medicaid to Minnesota-run programs may have been fraudulent. And at least 14 programs were likely exploited, a federal prosecutor said today. In October, state officials announced that a third party will audit 14 Medicaid services deemed to be high risk for fraud in the state. According to Thompson, and that is the U.S. Attorney, I take it. Yeah, first assistant U.S. Attorney. Those 14 programs have cost the state $18 billion since 2018. $18 billion. First Assistant U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson said it's unclear just how much of that money is fraudulent, but said so far too much. On order of half or more, but we'll see. Half or more of the $18 billion. Thompson said the scale of fraud in Minnesota outpaces that of other states and puts services at risk for people who really need them. I'm not seeing a lot of outrage by the Democrats. All this money is stolen, and that means not only are taxpayers ripped off, but people for whom the money was intended don't see it, like autistic kids, like people who are hungry. While prosecutors typically see fraud manifest as providers overbilling, Thompson said during a news conference in Minneapolis that companies have been created to provide zero services while pocketing federal funds for international travel, luxury vehicles, and lavish lifestyles. The magnitude cannot be overstated, said the first assistant U.S. attorney. What we see in Minnesota is not a handful of bad actors committing crimes. It's staggering. Industrial scale fraud. Don't you dare criticize the Somali community. Don't you dare. The investigators' new findings may bolster President Trump and his claims that Minnesota is a hub of fraudulent money laundering activity under Governor Tim Walz, the Democrats' vice presidential nominee last year. Trump has capitalized on the fraud, this is them writing, CBS, to target Somali diaspora in Minnesota, calling them garbage and saying he doesn't want immigrants from the East African country in the U.S. Folks, the president puts it that way, but the truth is that used to be our policy. That is, the vetting of people who want to come into the country, they have to be from communities, from provinces, from countries where the people are susceptible to assimilation. The people are self-sufficient. The people won't go on welfare, and on and on and on. There used to be a long list of requirements. But of course, those have been, for the most part, prior to Trump, eliminated. More than 90% of the people charged in the major fraud cases announced before today were of Somali descent, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota. Yeah, I'd say there's a problem in that community. 5 new defendants have been charged in connection with a Minnesota housing services fraud, Thompson said. 2 of them pocketed $750,000 instead of helping Medicaid recipients find stable housing. Prosecutors allege they used the proceeds to travel to international destinations, including London, Istanbul, and Dubai. Oh, Dubai. I wonder if they bought homes near Qatarlson. One defendant submitted $1.4 million in fraudulent claims using some of the funds to purchase cryptocurrency. Federal officials say he fled the country after receiving a subpoena. I'm sure he's innocent. Mm-hmm. The 5 charges include 2 Philadelphia residents, figures, who've been accused of fraud tourism as they registered as Minnesota providers, Thompson said, adding that for them the scheme was easy money. For everybody it was easy money. You can't just spend over $9 billion. He said Minnesota has become a magnet for fraud, so much so that we have developed a fraud tourism industry. People coming to our state purely to exploit and defraud its programs. It's deeply unsettling reality that all Minnesotans should understand. Now, what we should understand is you have a governor who is a disgusting nobody, a loser of the highest magnitude. You have a community there of 80,000 illegal aliens and some legal, Somalians, who are robbing the nation blind. And for reasons we've explained in the past, not my experience, but others, that's the nature, apparently, of the culture, and that's why Somalia does not have a functioning society, a functioning government. The 2 men, Anthony Waddle Jefferson and Lester Brown, were accused of siphoning millions from federally funded programs administered by Minnesota officials that were meant to help the disabled and those suffering from addiction. All these people should go to prison for life, for life. They allegedly fleeced the housing program in Minnesota despite living on the other side of the country and having no networking or connections to Minnesota or its communities. So you have travel fraud, you have fraud taking place in Minnesota from people living in other states who don't even set foot in Minnesota, and of course you have fraud in Minnesota. Now the 8 others charged in September for their alleged roles in the scheme to defraud Minnesota Housing Stability Services Program. Prosecutors also named a new defendant. Asked who's to blame, prosecutors said the state has not done a good job of mining these programs. Oh, you think? No, they haven't done a good job at all. I'm still waiting to hear from the Democrats, still waiting to hear from Ilhan Omar, still waiting to hear. But we won't. No. These are constituents. These are voters, Mr. Producer. Why would we hear from them? I think that's a fair question. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. Now.
Every day I hear from Americans who feel like they're losing their voice, frustrated that their values are being ignored or erased. If that's you, let me tell you something that you can do right now. Join AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. AMAC isn't just another group. It's a powerful community built on faith, family, and common sense. They're standing in the gap, giving millions of Americans the tools to stay informed, engaged, and prepared. Members get real, practical benefits, unbelievable discounts on insurance, travel, and retail, plus access to exclusive resources in the AMAC magazine, which is truly one of the best publications out there. And for a limited time, you can join free for 90 days, no credit card required, no strings attached. Just a chance to see what the Association of Mature American Citizens is all about for free. So go to amac.us/Levin right now. That's amac.us/LEVIN. Take the first step and make your voice matter again. That's amac.us/LEVIN.
Fairfax, you will still find accident activity southbound on the Fairfax County Parkway between 29 and Braddock Road, causing delays from 66, and still a slow go on 66 heading westbound from the Beltway to 123 and from Route 28 in Centerville towards Business 234. Eastbound is slow through Fair Oaks and from the Beltway headed towards Glebe Road. In the district, watch out for crash activity on 14th Street at Irving Street in Northwest and on Connecticut Avenue at Legation Street in Northwest. And in Clinton, there is an accident on southbound Branch Avenue at Woodyard Road. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Tonight, rain after sunset, heavy at times, lows in the 50s. Tomorrow, morning rain, then clearing skies with temperatures falling to the 40s.
¿Estás contemplando seguir tus estudios? Empieza con AEDP. Te ayudamos a encontrar programas educativos para adultos que mejor se adapten a tu rutina. Ya sea que desees prepararte para el GED, forjar habilidades de lectura y escritura, o descubrir oportunidades mediante aprendizaje laboral. Obtén más información hoy en nysed.gov/adulted. Este es un mensaje del Departamento de Educación del Estado de Nueva York.
Ever wish buying a home was as easy as clicking your heels 3 times? At Northern Credit Union, we know there's no place like home. We offer first-time buyer programs with no closing costs, VA, USDA, seasonal, new construction, and many other loan options. If you're dreaming of home ownership, Northern will help you get into your new home in 3 clicks of your heels. Getting approved is quick and easy, and with our meet or beat rate guarantee, you know you're getting the lowest rate possible. Our team is here to help you along the yellow brick road to home ownership with honest advice, personalized service, and support every step of the way. Click your heels, or just call or text, because at Northern, there's no place like home. Northern Credit Union, mortgage magic in the real world. Call or text 315-782-0155 or apply online at mynorthern.com. Federally insured, NCUA, equal housing opportunity.
Yes, it's me again. And we prepped. Woo! Prep. Oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. It's the time for empowerment. And I've got a message for you. You gotta think about sexual health, no matter what, where, with who. Yeah. To all you lovers out there, ain't no judgment. This is your cue. Yeah. It's time to talk about pre-special prophylaxis, a part of HIV prevention. Oh, so you talk to a healthcare provider and visit carefortheculture.com to learn more.
As a consumer, you can carry the success or failure of businesses in the palm of your hand. Their success can depend on your decision to spend money with them or their competitor. Well, my friends at Pure Talk would like to say thank you from the bottom of their hearts for choosing Pure Talk for your wireless needs. Because of you, they've had a record-breaking year. Because of your generosity through their Roundup for Charity program, they've been able to donate over $500,000 to America's Warrior Partnership, who stands on the front lines of helping to prevent veteran suicide. Your patronage has allowed Pure Talk to donate 1,000 hand-sewed Made in America flags to your fellow veterans. And when you choose Pure Talk as your wireless provider, you help Pure Talk support American jobs right here in our country. Like I said, as a consumer, you have the power to make or break companies. With the money the big wireless guys throw around on advertising, you're inundated with offers everywhere you look. So from everyone in the Pure Talk family, thank you for your trust, and God bless you.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939. WMAL, making sense of the economy because it's your money and your retirement. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
You know, there's a lot of talk about how the Republicans are going to be blown out in the midterms, and they might be. It's kind of early to know one way or the other. Possible. We've talked about that. We've talked about a number of reasons. I think this economy is going to take off next year, first or second quarter, the way it did under Reagan. But we'll see. Trump has done many things. He's put them in place, and it takes time for them to take place, like the tax cuts really haven't kicked in until, next year. But the Democrats have their own problem. Why? Because they're nuts, that's why. Absolutely, totally screwed up. Harry Enton on CNN today, he's their data expert analyst on Democrats polling in the minds of the American people. Count one, Mr. Producer, go.
Yeah, I mean, Democrats in the minds of the American public are lower than the Dead Sea. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. The net approval rating for Democrats in Congress, you said it, Kate Baldwin, the lowest ever. Look at this. Overall, they are 55 points underwater. Their approval rating is south of 20%. It's even worse when you look at independents. Look at this. Negative 61 points. That means that their approval rating is 61 points lower than their disapproval rating. Quinnipiac has been polling this question for the better part of the 21st century. They have never found Democrats, at least those in Congress, in worse shape than they are right now.
That's independents and overall, but what about Democrats on Democrats?
Yeah, what about Democrats on Democrats? So part of the reason overall is so low is independents are driving it low, but that's not the only reason it's so low. What about Democrats on Democrats? Democrats net approval rating of congressional Democrats. I want you to keep in mind, they had never rated Democrats negatively until this year. And right now, what are we talking about? We're talking about a net approval rating from Democrats. This is Democrats on Democrats. Their approval rating is actually lower than the disapproval rating. And that is quite the drop from October. I think during the shutdown, there was a bit of a boost for Democrats, right? There was a rallying around the flag effect going on. But Democrats did not like how that shutdown turned out. They have returned against Democrats in Congress. And you mentioned Dan Goldman in that intro. One of the reasons that Dan Goldman is in trouble right now in a potential primary against Brad Ladner is because at this point, the Democratic base is so upset with Democrats. So even if Democrats take back Congress, don't be surprised if Dan Goldman ain't there because of numbers like this.
Now, Goldman's a lunatic, of course, but the guy he's running against, a lunatic times 10. So they're going to become even more extremist, even more radical. Meanwhile, what's going on with inflation? What's going on with inflation? Harvard professor Ken Rogoff on the Constipated News Network today, cut 4, go.
I mean, I was surprised. It was a better number than anyone was expecting. Look, inflation's been very high. It's stayed high. It has not been coming down. But, you know, people were expecting it to be above 3%. It was well below 3%. I mean, I think the president will take this as good news. The investors will think that interest rates will get cut more. So, you know, it was a positive news. There's no other way to spin it.
No, thank you, Professor. So inflation is down even more, and there's no other way to spin it, America. The economy's going to get there. You'll see. And then you know what else you're going to see? You're going to see these gutless, quizzling members of Congress, some of whom are obviously Republicans, all of a sudden be cheerleading Trump again. You'll see the neo-fascists. They're not sure what to do. Maybe they'll start cheering Trump again. Marjorie Trader Green, she will be a footnote to a footnote and a footnote, not to history, but in some comic book. This economy is going to pick up. It may go a little bit south, a little bit more south, but then it's going to come north. That's what economic growth does. And Trump has put in place so many measures to promote economic growth in so many parts of the economy, whether it's natural resources like oil and gas and lumber and mining and so forth, food, where he's put in place, again, so many growth policies, even fisheries, commercial fisheries. He's done the same thing. He's pulled the Biden regulations off that business, that industry. He's trying to force other countries that are purposely blockading economically our farmers through tariffs to accept goods from our farmers, products from our farmers. And he's doing everything a president can possibly do to turn on the economic spigot. And all of this kicks in next year in a more significant way. You're seeing little dribs and drabs of it, actually more than that. I mean, gasoline prices are down. That's a big deal. It takes time for these things to resonate through a massive economy, and that's what we have, a massive, diverse economy. I've seen this throughout my life. But again, he's gone with the Reagan tax cuts. His regulatory cuts are more massive than any president that I can remember. He's ditched this whole climate change BS, and he's done a lot of things that are all pro-growth oriented. And so he's going to get pro-growth. He's going to get it. Let's hope it's in time for the midterms, for sure. Time will tell. Then we have John Berman to Representative Gregory Meeks on CNN today. If the economy's so bad for Trump, why don't voters trust you more? Cut 5, go.
46% say Republicans are better at handling the economy than Democrats. So if the policies are as bad as you say they are, why is it
that voters still say prefer Republicans on this?
I think that if you look at those same numbers, you see that Donald Trump is at an all-time low in regards to the economy. I think that the last poll that I saw a day ago was he's down to 36% on the economy.
If that's true, why don't they trust you more? If it's so bad for him, why don't they trust you more for the economy, you being Democrats?
Well, I think that they see who's fighting for health care to try to make sure.
All right, slow down. He can't answer it because for him to answer, he would have to condemn their policies. They're not fighting for health care. They're fighting for Obamacare, which is a financial disaster, which is a medical disaster, which is unsustainable. Now imagine this. You have a government-run healthcare program that's unsustainable and provides poor service. Massive subsidies, and yet your premiums are still going through the roof. Every Democrat in Congress then voted for it. Every Republican in Congress then voted against it. And the Democrat answer is don't reform it, don't change it, subsidize it, and then subsidize it some more. Subsidize a failing government-run. This is why you have what's going on in Minnesota. Massive fraud with the Somalis. And you got massive fraud with the Democrats, period. This is why you have these horrendous, mismanagement of funds and loss of funds. Many Wall Street veterans are sounding the alarm. They say gold could climb to $7,000 an ounce before this administration finishes its term. I have no idea, but many investors, economists, and portfolio managers are tracking some likely indicators. Soaring national debt, government spending, a dollar that's losing purchasing power. And some central banks all over the world even appear to be hoarding gold reserves. That's why I rely on Monetary Gold. With more than 25 years in business, an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and top 5 rankings from Consumer Affairs and Retirement Living, they've earned a reputation for trust and expertise. Their specialists bring over a century of combined experience helping Americans get help safeguarding their savings. Call Monetary Gold now, 877-NOW-GOLD, 877-NOW-GOLD. Or visit marklovesgold.com before the next major move in the gold market. That's 877-NOW-GOLD, or go to marklovesgold.com. Results can vary. Always consult your financial and tax advisors before investing.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 6:30. I'm Heather Curtis. Breaking this hour, Maryland gets a step closer to redrawing the state's congressional maps. Tonight, Governor Wes Moore's Redistricting Advisory Commission approved moving forward with considering mid-cycle redistricting. The commission is asking residents to submit proposed maps ahead of public hearings after Christmas. Commission member Senator Angela Alsobrooks says they'll pick one to give to the General Assembly for consideration in the new legislative session. Senate President Bill Ferguson slamming the move, citing the University of Maryland Baltimore County poll that found 40% of respondents opposed the move. Also breaking this hour, good news for TikTok addicts. Its Chinese parent company ByteDance signed a deal to sell its U.S. business to 3 American investors, allowing the social media app to continue to be available to Americans. Traffic and weather next. Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Crash activity now in the outer loop of the Beltway after the Springfield interchange. Only one lane gets by that crash, so watch out for very slow traffic there. There's also an accident on the outer loop between Gallows Road and the Little River Turnpike. That is causing delays from 123. Also, the inner loop still heavy from 123 to the Spur, and more delays from Old Georgetown Road all the way towards 95. And you will still find accident activity right now on 270. This is on the northbound side between 109 and Route 80, causing delays from the truck scales. And heavy traffic right now due to an accident on Branch Avenue southbound at Woodyard Road. Now from GarageRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Tonight, cloudy with rain, heavy at times, lows in the 50s, right now 54 in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis on WMAL.
Thinking about continuing your education? Start with AEPP. We make it easy to find adult education programs that fit your life. Whether it's preparing for your GED, building your reading and writing skills, or discovering apprenticeship opportunities, our programs are always expanding to make sure you receive the personalized support, flexibility, and options that work for you and your future. Learn more today at nysep.gov/adulted. A message from the New York State Education Department.
CDC recommends that people age 65 and older and those with moderate or severe immunocompromise receive a second dose of COVID-19 vaccine 2 to 6 months after their last dose. Schedule at kinneydrugs.com or walk into any Kinney pharmacy.
Ever wish buying a home was as easy as clicking your heels 3 times? At Northern Credit Union, we know there's no place like home. We offer first-time buyer programs with no closing costs, VA, USDA, seasonal, new construction, and many other loan options. If you're dreaming of home ownership, Northern will help you get into your new home in 3 clicks of your heels. Getting approved is quick and easy, and with our meet or beat rate guarantee, you know you're getting the lowest rate possible. Our team is here to help you along the yellow brick road to home ownership with honest advice, personalized service, and support every step of the way. Click your heels or just call or text, because at Northern, there's no place like home. Northern Credit Union, mortgage magic in the real world. Call or text 315-782-0155 or apply online at mynorthern.com. Federally insured, NCUA, equal housing opportunity.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. WMAL, making sense of the markets, because generational wealth doesn't build itself. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Mark Levin, America's tyranny hunter. Call in now, 877-381-3811.
The multicultural terrorist threat inside Europe. The Exported War Nobody Wants to Name by Pierre Rahab. Gatestone Institute International Policy Council is one of the best of all the institutes. It just is. It's fantastic. Really, really good work. Investigative and research writing. It's just terrific. And so let's go through some of this. It's important. And by the way, Brown University, if they have a press event, we will go there live. They're looking at a possible link between Brown University and the murder of the MIT nuclear expert. And they're 50 miles apart. So something's going on here that's bigger than was once assumed. I have my own thoughts, but I'm not going to voice them because they're not based on facts, so we'll see. Anyway, back to this. Peaceful protesters certainly exist, he writes, but in many instances, the same marchers who cry from the river to the sea also provide cover, logistics, and recruitment spaces for operatives who work closely with Hamas or other terrorist organizations. This is a big deal. You know why, America? Because it's happening here, in our country. A report from the University of Indiana shows how a transnational network of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and campus groups spread anti-Semitic and pro-Hamas narratives, coordinated across borders and amplified by social media. I want you to remember that 9/11 was a direct attack on the heart of the United States. On the biggest buildings in our biggest city, on the Pentagon. And that other plane was headed for Congress, they think. So this is a big deal. Let's see, let's go on. The message is simple. Israel's colonial, Jews are settlers, and violence against them is resistance. And of course, that means we, the people in the United States. Europe rallies have repeatedly featured Hamas flags, praise for the October 7 attackers, and calls to repeat the massacre, all under the label of human rights. Law enforcement sees the problems more clearly than politicians. The same European Union reports that speak delicately of violent extremism in public also describe behind closed doors how online propaganda, diaspora networks, and Middle Eastern conflicts interact to create hybrid terrorist ecosystems in Europe. Even so, at the political level, Europe still refuses to name the ideology, that is the ideological enemy, an Islamist project that openly seeks the eradication of Israel, spills over to advocate eliminating the United States and the West. Quote, the one Jewish state is the first to suffer, notes Jerusalem Post reporter Leah Collins. But the nearly 50 million Muslim majority countries in the nominally Christian world are all in the line of fire. European governments rush to recognize a Palestinian state even as Hamas thanks them for rewarding its resistance, quote unquote. This same cognitive dissonance runs through the European Union institutions that condemn terrorism in the abstract while lavishly funding non-governmental organizations that glorify its perpetrators. Europe's retreat in denying intangible threats, staring them in the face, unfortunately, has extremely tangible results. Studies of Hamas funding stress that social and religious front organizations are integral to the movement's terrorist attacks. They launder money, recruit sympathizers, and create safe spaces where support for terrorism can flourish under a humanitarian cover. This is all Qatar. Not by itself, but this is all Qatar does. And so when you have sycophants like Qatarlson and people like him, and he's not alone. You got Wall Street guys, other businesses. You have athletes and sporting events. You've got entertainers from Hollywood. You have CNN. You've got others, the media. When Germany bans Samadun or a small local front group, non-governmental organizations and academics denounce the act as repression of civil society. And here we hear people denounce it as attacking free speech, you know. When Belgium moves against a man praising the October 7 massacre, activist networks cry that solidarity is being criminalized. In this narrative, it's always the state, never the terrorist infrastructure, that is on trial. The war has been exported from Gaza to Europe, has three pillars: money, indoctrination, and operational cells. All three are embedded in structures that call themselves Palestinian Solidarity or human rights organizations. As long as European governments accept this masquerade, the continent will remain both a financial base and potential battlefield for Hamas and its Qatari, Turkish, and Iranian sponsors. What would a serious policy look like? No more American or European funding, period, for organizations that celebrate terrorist martyrs and teach children to hate Jews, hate Christians, or any other racial or religious group. When demonstrators chant globalize the intifada, they're not calling for peace, they're calling for the expansion of a global jihadist war, terrorism. Finally, Europeans must abandon the illusion that the Palestinian cause, quote unquote, is a harmless protest, disconnected from terrorism. Hamas itself, backed by Qatar, Turkey, and Iran, has explained over and over that Europe is part of their battlefield. The only question is whether European leaders will listen to their own police and intelligence services as Israel's Mossad, or whether they will continue pretending that a war raging against them has no name and does not exist. When Israel's Mossad intelligence agency publicly revealed in November 2025 that it had helped European countries expose a Hamas terrorist infrastructure, quote, in the heart of Europe, unquote, including weapons caches and plans to hit Jewish and Israeli targets. It simply confirmed that intelligence professionals have warned since October 7, 2023. The war in the Gaza Strip is not local. It has been exported operationally to European soil, and I would add to American soil. As early as December 2023, German, Dutch, and Danish authorities had already arrested Hamas operatives accused of preparing attacks on Jewish institutions in several European countries. Prosecutors described long-standing members of Hamas, directed to stockpile weapons in Berlin. Since then, intel and security reports have spoken of a, quote, realistic possibility, unquote, that the Hamas-Israel war will embolden networks across Western Europe to move from propaganda to mass casualty attacks. Folks, this is going to happen. It's going to happen here. It's going to happen in the United States. We have laxed immigration for way too long. We have the Democrat Party that gives cover to these operations. We have this Marxist Islamist alliance that really is at the heart now of the Democrat Party. And we also have our outliers, podcasters, influencers, who are in the back pocket of Qatar, if not financially, otherwise, trashing our own history, trashing the West, trashing the good guys in World War II. That would be us. Attacking Christians, attacking Jews in this country. Like Carlson and his ilk. Europol's 2025 terrorism situation and trend report openly acknowledged the Gaza conflict has reshaped the threat picture in the European Union. The forward warns that wars beyond Europe's borders, explicitly including Gaza, fuel radicalization, propaganda, and operational planning within European states. In parallel, news outlets report that since 2023, European authorities have quietly disrupted several plots linked to Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran. Behind these plots lies an entrenched Hamas infrastructure in Europe that long predates 2023. A detailed study from George Washington University describes how Hamas built extensive fundraising and logistical networks in Western countries using charities, NGOs, often European funded, and business fronts, whose names and legal entities are constantly changed to stay ahead of authorities. And these same countries, the study's authors warned, are the natural incubator for future terrorist operations in the West. In 2024, the Foundation for the Defense of Democracy summarized new research by ELNET that identified 30 Hamas-linked groups and figures active in the UK, Germany, Italy, Belgium, and Netherlands. These groups include, quote, civil society, unquote, associations, aid organizations, and lobbying platforms that propagate Hamas narratives while maintaining close personal ties with known extremists. They operate with relative freedom despite Hamas being officially designated as a terrorist organization by both the EU and individual European countries. You know, ladies and gentlemen, one thing I'm proud of what we do here is we are focused like a laser. World War III is already underway. You know, it's not because of Israel. It's not because of Ukraine. It's not because of Trump with Venezuela. World War III, the Islamist war against the West. First battle with Israel. Battles breaking open in Europe. Battles will break open in the United States. I mark my words. I know what I'm talking about. They are here. They are plotting. You're in the right place at the right time in American history, and you have been. Germany, to its credit, has gone further to confront this problem than most. Berlin has not only banned Hamas and the international network Samadan, but has also started outlawing local solidarity groups whose activities glorify terrorism and promote anti-Semitic agitation. You know, I say over and over again, if you hate Israel, you hate America. If you hate America, you hate Israel. It's for one basic reason: shared values and belief systems. Israel is a Jewish state. America is essentially a Christian country, Judeo-Christian belief system. Even in Germany, however, every ban on one structure appears followed by the birth of another. So this is highly organized and sophisticated. Hamas also invests heavily in indoctrination, particularly among students. A report from the University of Indiana shows how a transnational network of NGOs and campus groups spread anti-Semitic pro-Hamas narratives, coordinated across borders, amplified by social media. Excuse me. The message is simple. Israel's colonial, Jews are settlers, and violence against them is resistance. They say the same thing about the United States. Same thing. And you can see it on college campuses in Europe. You see it on college campuses in the United States of America. You see Qatar. Why would Qatar be pouring tens of billions of dollars into our educational system? For this reason. That's why. And I'm waiting for Congress, the Republican Congress, to cut off all foreign money coming into our colleges and universities. But we can't even get a committee of Republicans to vote that the Muslim Brotherhood, the mothership of the terrorists, should be designated as a terrorist organization for all purposes and in every part of the planet. Ted Cruz and Republicans in the Senate now are trying to fix that and lead the charge, but we'll see how far that goes with their colleagues. Meanwhile, Europe's Jewish communities live under siege. Synagogues require fortress-style protection. Jewish schools resemble military bases. Israeli tourists are warned by their own government to avoid displaying any visible sign of Jewish or Israeli identity. The dramatic rise in anti-Semitic incidents across Europe and America since October 7th can be directly linked to pro-Hamas agitation, even when officials pretend the hatred has nothing to do with imported Middle Eastern conflicts. The war that has been exported from Gaza to Europe has three pillars: money, indoctrination, and operational cells. All three are embedded in structures that call themselves Palestinian solidarity. And that's where we are. Pierre Rehov, law degree from Paris, French reporter, documentary filmmaker, author of 6 novels. He has produced and directed 17 documentaries, many photographed at high risk in Middle Eastern war zones, focusing on terrorism, media bias, and the persecution of Christians. His latest documentary, Pogroms, highlights the context of Asian Jew hatred within Muslim civilization, is the main force behind the October 7 massacre. I hope the world is listening. I hope people are listening. You, Mr. and Mrs. America. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm using these sources and conveying this information to you. It is here. It is a threat. It's going to hit us. And it's going to be horrific. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news. Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know, all without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app. Thank you. Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected.
Accident activity now on the Beltway in Springfield on the outer loop after the Springfield interchange, where 3 lanes are blocked along the left. 1 lane to the right gets by, and traffic is jammed from Braddock Road. But the accident on the outer loop between Gallows Road and the Little River Turnpike now moved to the right shoulder, but traffic is still jammed from 123. There is still crash activity in Clinton on southbound Branch Avenue at Woodyard Road, with traffic slowed from the Beltway. But the earlier accidents on the southbound Fairfax County Parkway between Lee Highway and Braddock Road cleared. All lanes have been reopened. Everything on 270 cleared northbound, and the accident in Hightstown cleared, but it is still slow between Flopper Road and Middlebrook Road. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Tonight, rain after sunset, heavy at times, lows in the 50s. Tomorrow, morning rain, then clearing skies with temperatures falling to the 40s.
Heavy industry has some heavy-duty challenges, like reducing carbon emissions. That's where we come in. ExxonMobil is working to help industries across the globe lower emissions. We're also investing in technology to reduce carbon emissions in our own operations. It's one way we're making a hard day's work feel a little easier. Discover what our low-carbon solutions can do for your business. ExxonMobil. Let's deliver.
It's the gaming event of the year, featuring T-Pain's Nappy Boy Grizzlies versus Neo's Gentleman's Gaming. It's a 4v4 matchup featuring Call of Duty, Tetris, Trackmania, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4, and Tekken 8. Season 0 of the Global Gaming League is live streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Head over to globalgamingleague.com.
With stays under $250 a night, Vrbo makes it easy to celebrate sweater weather. You could book a cabin stay with leaf views for days, or a brownstone in a city where festivals are just a walk away, or a lakeside home with a fire pit for cozy nights with friends. Or, if you're not a sweater person, we can call it corduroy weather. We're flexible. And with stays under $250 a night, you can book a home that suits your exact needs. Book now at Vrbo.com.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You know, folks, Americans rely on credit cards for secure payments and seamless transactions. But consumers stand to lose it all with the Durbin-Marshall credit card mandate bill. Big government mandates favor corporate megastores and allow them to choose how your credit card is processed. They might end up using untested payment networks that could jeopardize your data security and rewards. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Visit guardyourcard.com to learn more. That's guardyourcard.com, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife, and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Making sense of your world.
I agree with everything you're saying.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
My heart just breaks for what's going on.
Making sense of the news. First thing each morning, O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9 on WMAL.
Let earth receive her king. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and earth to sing.
I want to thank all the sponsors of the program for their loyalty to the program, but more importantly, to the audience. And we try and find the best people and organizations in every category out there. We certainly do. American Financing is surely one of them. The Fed drops rates for the 4th time. If you're a homeowner, you should call American Financing immediately. You could be saving real money every single month. The interest rate is crushing budgets across the country. I mean, still, with those damn credit cards, but homeowners who act now are using their equity to wipe it out. American Financing's customers are saving on average, as you know, $800 a month, $10,000 a year, even more in many cases, with rates in the low 5s. They're getting rates in the low 5s, a massive difference compared to those credit card charges of 20% or more. Speak with a salary-based mortgage consultant who will just lay it out for you and find out exactly what you qualify for. There are never any upfront fees to find out how much you could save. So it's a call, no risk, no cost. Find out how much you can save. I'm sure it's going to be worth it, by the way. Move quickly. You could even delay 2 mortgage payments, putting cash back in your pocket immediately after the holidays here. And you might need that money after the holidays, right? So call American Financing today. They're there right now. They are a big help. I've used them. Rich has used them. My daughter has used them. The sooner you act, the quicker you're going to start saving money. Here's the number. 888-900-1828. 888-900-1828. 888-900-1828. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 182334. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR rates for in the 5s start at 6.196% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 800-900-1828 for details about credit costs and terms.
Here's the update from ABC News. Law enforcement officials have identified a possible suspect in connection with the mass shooting at Brown University. They've issued a warrant for the individual's arrest. Now, that is not a search warrant. That's a warrant for their arrest. And they got it from a judge, so they're pretty sure. This comes after multiple sources briefed on the investigation told ABC News that the Brown shooting and the murder of an MIT professor in Brookline, Massachusetts may be linked. Now, look, I don't know how they're linked. I don't know how they may be linked. But the MIT professor who was murdered was Jewish and one of the top nuclear experts, not just in the country, but the world. The room at Brown in which this suspect murdered those 2 wonderful students and shot 9 others. First of all, one of those students, a young lady, was the vice president of the College Republicans. But the professor on campus is well known. She's Jewish, and she's taught a class in Israel as well. And she teaches Middle Eastern policy. Now, I don't know if that's how they're linked or not. I don't know if they're linked or not, but this is the information that ABC News and virtually every other news organization is putting out now, that they think they're linked. They were 50 miles apart. We shall see. It's just a matter of time. They're going to get their man. We'll be right back.
Thinking about continuing your education? Start with AEPP. We make it easy to find adult education programs that fit your life. Whether it's preparing for your GED, building your reading and writing skills, or discovering apprenticeship opportunities, our programs are always expanding to make sure you receive the personalized support, flexibility, and options that work for you and your future. Learn more today at nysed.gov/adulted. A message from the New York State Education Department.
Ever wish buying a home was as easy as clicking your heels 3 times? At Northern Credit Union, we know there's no place like home. We offer first-time buyer programs with no closing costs, VA, USDA, seasonal, new construction, and many other loan options. If you're dreaming of home ownership, Northern will help you get into your new home in 3 clicks of your heels. Getting approved is quick and easy, and with our meet-or-beat rate guarantee, you know you're getting the lowest rate possible. Our team is here to help you along the yellow brick road to home ownership with honest advice, personalized service, and support every step of the way. Click your heels, or just call or text, because at Northern, there's no place like home. Northern Credit Union, mortgage magic in the real world. Call or text 315-782-0155 or apply online at mynorthern.com. Federally insured, NCUA, equal housing opportunity.
The Mega Millions jackpot is getting mega huge. Head to your favorite New York lottery retailer and grab a ticket today for your chance at a massive win. Currently over $200 million. Good luck, New York. Please play responsibly.
Last month, Mary's team did something unheard of. They closed the books before Friday. No late nights, no missing receipts. So what happened? RAMP happened. RAMP automates receipts, enforces policy in real time, and gives teams total visibility. That's why it's used by 40,000 companies like Shopify and CBRE. Finance teams, want your weekends back? Get $250 off when you join at ramp.com/trial. That's ramp.com/trial.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 7. I'm Heather Curtis. Breaking this hour, Fairfax County Police credit a tip from the community with helping arrest an illegal immigrant from El Salvador who's now charged with second-degree murder. Police say Mervin Ortez fatally shot his roommate, Marvin Morales, in their home yesterday, a day after being arrested from jail.
Court records indicate Ortez is allegedly a member of MS-13. Now, ICE tells us they had a detainer on him, yet he was still released from the Fairfax County Jail on Tuesday after prosecutors decided not to move forward with an assault and gun charge against him. The Fairfax County Sheriff's Office spokesperson says, quote, a judicial warrant that would be required to hold him past the ordered release was not on file.
7 News' Tom Rousey. Reaction pouring in after the Kennedy Center board voted to rename the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center. President Trump saying,
I was surprised by it. I was honored by it.
The White House says the vote was unanimous. A Congresswoman Joyce Bate, who is on the call, says,
each time I tried to speak, I was muted.
JFK's grandnephew, Joe Kennedy III, says federal law named the center after a fallen president and it cannot be renamed. Fairfax County has a new high school to name, and it's looking to the stars for inspiration.
The school board's accepting feedback tonight, but it's already received more than 6,000 suggestions for the school, which is close to both Dulles Airport and the Air and Space Museum's Udvar Hazy Center. Not a shock, then. Most of the names on the unofficial list are space-related, tributes to shuttles or to astronauts. A couple are just spacey sounding, like Skyview and Innovation. But not everyone feels the need for a theme. The single most suggested name has no apparent tie to the stars, but to its geographic location, Western High School. John Matthews on WMAL and WMAL.com.
Last year, the Montgomery County Public School budget proposal was theme-based on eating broccoli. This year's ask, also green and with additional produce.
Chef, it looks like we're going to make a budget salad.
Cafeteria hairnet, gloves, and all. Superintendent Dr. Thomas Taylor discussed his proposal.
We are making a request of $179.9 million above what we requested last year.
Totaling now almost $3.8 billion, about a 5% bump in current spending, including raises. So far, positive feedback from the county's Education Association, which stated via release, the quote, budget begins to tackle class size, which is a barrier to achieving student excellence, while also honoring contracts with teachers and affiliated unions. Scotland on WMAL and WMAL.com.
Plans for a new Chesapeake Bay Bridge take another big step forward with a green light from the Maryland State Transportation Advisory Board.
Alternative C would have the benefit of removing the traffic bottleneck at the Bay Bridge in both directions on non-summer weekdays and eastbound on summer weekend days.
And has the least environmental impact and the lowest price, explains MDTA Planning Director Melissa Williams. The new Chesapeake Bay Bridge price tag at this point?
Between $14.8 and $16.4 billion.
With a construction start goal in 7 years pending federal approval and funding. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
If you're a civilian federal employee, you'll be getting a 1% raise in the new year under an executive order President Trump signed today. That's the smallest increase since 2021. He also signed an order giving most federal employees the day before Christmas and the day after off. Traffic and weather next.
The Paul Steffen Home has saved hundreds of women and babies since it began its Save Babies One Mom at a Time mission. To save the baby, we must save the mom too. Please donate today. paulsteffenhome.org. paulsteffenhome.org.
Here at the Zebra, research shows the average person would rather endure a root canal than search for auto and home insurance.
Just try to relax.
Or be trapped in a car for 8 hours with kidneys on a sugar high. Or remove a nest of irate hornets. That's why the Zebra searches for you, comparing over 100 insurance companies to find savings no one else can. Compare today at thezebra.com. We do the searching, you do the saving. I think I'll wait inside.
Thinking about continuing your education? Start with AEPP. We make it easy to find adult education programs that fit your life. Whether it's preparing for your GED, building your reading and writing skills, or discovering apprenticeship opportunities, our programs are always expanding to make sure you receive the personalized support, flexibility, and options that work for you and your future. Learn more today at nysed.gov/adulted. A message from the New York State Education Department.
Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Accident activity now reported westbound on the freeway at Main Avenue, and traffic is jammed from the 3rd Street Tunnel and still slow eastbound between the 14th Street Bridge and the 3rd Street Tunnel. On the outer loop of the Springfield interchange, an accident blocks 3 main lanes. Traffic is squeezing by in 1 lane, and it is jammed from Braddock Road, but the earlier crash on the outer loop between Gallows Road and the Little River Turnpike has been cleared to the shoulder. Also, inner loop, you will still find delays from 123 to the Spur from Old George. Accident activity now reported westbound on the blocks 3 main lanes. Traffic is squeezing by in 1 lane, and it is jammed from Braddock Road, but the earlier crash on the outer loop between Gallows Road and the Little River Turnpike has been cleared to the shoulder. Also, inner loop, you will still find delays from 123 to the Spur from Old Georgetown Road to New Hampshire Avenue. And in the district, there's an accident on Riggs Road at Eastern Avenue in Northeast. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Still Much Sun forecast.
As the rate increases around the 7-8 o'clock hour, it will become more widespread overnight as temperatures hold steady in the 50s. Rainfall will range from around a ½ inch to nearly an inch by the time it wraps up tomorrow morning. And as skies clear through the day, tomorrow it gets very windy. I'm 7 News meteorologist Mark Pena in the First Alert Weather Center.
Right now, 54 degrees in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis on WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
Contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Have I shared with you, Mr. Producer, what I think's going on here with Brown and the MIT professor and everything? Shut my microphone off for a second. I'm back on the air. Now, you'll be able to tell America if I'm right or wrong, okay? I'm not going to tell anybody what I said, but I've been thinking this now for 2 days. And you folks will remember the other day when I said it's very strange indeed that you have this murder in this classroom in Brown of a Jewish professor who's well known on the campus, who has also taught at a university in Tel Aviv, I believe, and who's teaching Judaic studies, among other things, Middle East studies. And in that classroom, 2 people are murdered, including the one young lady who was the vice president of the college Republicans, and one of her classmates said after her murder that she was actually a very kind person who was trying to bring different people together. Then you have this apparently world-renowned nuclear expert who's an MIT professor, and he's murdered not that long after, 50 miles away, obviously outside of Boston, in the lobby area of the condominium where he lives, and the family lives in a condominium on the first floor. Now, other information that's sort of squeezing out of this is the police have found the suspect's abandoned car. They know who they're looking for. They have an arrest warrant, not a search warrant, an arrest warrant. That's even more important because they provided enough information to a court that there's probable cause that this man committed these acts, or at least one of them. And the investigation is now spread to New Hampshire. So you have a multi-state, statewide, in each state, investigation taking place. And they're going to get this guy. And there may be more than one, but certainly there's one. They're going to get this guy. Just a matter of time. And apparently they were supposed to have a press conference at 4 p.m. Eastern time, which they canceled because they have an active situation. And as some have pointed out, Paul Morrow at Fox is spectacular, in my opinion. That many of the people who would be present at that press conference are actually operationally in charge of what's taking place. So when things are moving and things are taking place, they obviously need to take care of the operations more than respond to press questions. That's where we are, as best as I can tell right now. But I have my thoughts about this. We shall see. When I read something to you like I did in the last hour from Date Stone about the spread of Hamas, the spread of Islamism, these things that are going on in the Middle East, in Europe, in the United States, I do it for a reason. I do it for a reason. And here's what I also know, and I believe our affiliates and program directors know. I believe Sirius Satellite knows. I believe all of our platforms know. You're a smart audience. You want a smart radio program. You don't want podcasting where the F-bombs are dropped every other day, where there's gossip, where there's conspiracy nuts, where history's rewritten, where they talk about Hitler in a friendly way and all the rest of it. You don't want to hear any of this. You're sick of it, and I am too. But I have to call it out. I have to magnify it so you, normal Americans, Mr. and Mrs. America, realize what's going on out there and how some people are trying desperately to corrupt the minds of young people with all kinds of trash. These are your children and grandchildren. That's who they are. It's very important that we address these things because they're taking place under the radar. And again, I'm going to have an announcement next month when I come back to fill you folks in on some things that I will be doing. I think it's important. Sort of an expansion of some of the things that I've been doing. And I think it's very problematic that you have this Islamist, Marxist Islamists who are now going to be running the city of New York. I think the city of New York, in addition to everything else that's been discussed, is going to be a hotbed for terrorists. And I'm not saying he's affirmatively seeking to create that. I'm telling you that's what it's going to be. The police won't be able to do some of the things they need to do. Prosecutors there already. Soros prosecutors aren't doing what they need to do. The whole vetting process is going to be eliminated of any sort for any programs. And so my fear is you're going to see a tremendous increase in a dangerous environment in New York City. You're going to see it for Jews, particularly Orthodox Jews who wear what they wear and grow their hair as they grow and wear the hats that they grow, that they wear. I worry about that. And I think you're going to see more of this. And I think you're going to see more of it nationwide without question. Now, this MIT nuclear researcher was assassinated in his home. Reports have said, I haven't seen an official statement from the Israeli government, that the Israelis think that Iran may have been behind it, or an Iran operative taking out a nuclear expert of the United States. That suggests to me, whether true or not, that this gentleman was very important in our own nuclear program. Again, I'm just reading the tea leaves. It's a theory, just a theory. And Iran is back building up its nuclear program, as well as building enormous numbers of ballistic missiles. Mark wanted regime change. Yes, I did. And I want forever wars. But I want you to keep in mind, Turkey, Qatar are behind much of the terrorism in the world. Iran, which is allied with Qatar, but not Turkey. Qatar is also aligned with Turkey. Qatar is really aligned with all terror centers in the world. In fact, Qatar is so bad, Saudi Arabia wants nothing to do with them. What do you think of that, Rich? Pretty amazing. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Black men are the most likely Americans to die from lung cancer, and Black people develop the disease earlier in life than others. We doubled the number of Black Americans eligible for lung cancer screening. Insurance companies are required to.
The Paul Steffen Home has saved hundreds of women and babies since it began its Save Babies One Mom at a Time mission. To save the baby, we must save the mom too. Please donate today. paulsteffenhome.org. paulsteffenhome.org.
Your path to adult education begins with AEPP. Whether it's preparing for your GED, building your reading and writing skills, or discovering apprenticeship opportunities, learn more today at nysed.gov/adulted. A message from the New York State Education Department.
The holidays are more than a season. They're a journey to joy and a celebration of time together. This year, mark the moment with a gift from Jared Jewelers. From fine jewelry to elegant timepieces to our new exclusive Captivate necklace, discover gifts that sparkle with beauty and endure with meaning. Brilliant, timeless, unforgettable. Because the journey itself is beautiful and joy is forever. Shop all your holiday jewelry gifts at your local Jared Jewelers.
Need to reduce carbon emissions in your business? ExxonMobil can help. As a global leader in carbon capture and storage, we're working to reduce industrial emissions, including those in our own operations, while helping businesses stay competitive, so you can focus on raising your ambitions while lowering your emissions. ExxonMobil, let's deliver.
Most people would rather remove a nest of irate hornets than search for auto and home insurance. That's why the Zebra searches for you, comparing over 100 insurance companies to find savings no one else can. Compare today at thezebra.com. I think I'll wait inside.
The Paul Steffen Home has saved hundreds of women and babies since it began its Save Babies One Mom at a Time mission. To save the baby, we must save the mom too. Please donate today. paulsteffenhome.org. paulsteffenhome.org.
Ever wish buying a home was as easy as clicking your heels 3 times? At Northern Credit Union, we know there's no place like home. We offer first-time buyer programs with no closing costs, VA, USDA, season, new construction, and many other loan options. If you're dreaming of home ownership, Northern will help you get into your new home in 3 clicks of your heels. Getting approved is quick and easy, and with our meet or beat rate guarantee, you know you're getting the lowest rate possible. Our team is here to help you along the yellow brick road to home ownership with honest advice, personalized service, and support every step of the way. Click your heels, or just call or text, because at Northern, there's no place like home. Northern Credit Union, mortgage magic in the real world. Call or text 315-782-0155 or apply online at mynorthern.com. Federally insured, NCUA, equal housing opportunity.
Making sense of your world.
I agree with you 100%.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
There's a lot of us out there
making sense of the news.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Maybe you haven't heard about us. We're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless has you paying for more data than you might need. Why? They might want you to cover the costs of younger people who do use all that data. If you're not using the data, you're probably being used. We've heard time and time again that some Big Wireless customers get stuck paying hundreds and even thousands more for years and years because they think it's hard to switch. Not with us. It takes just about 20 minutes and you can change your plan anytime without extra charges. We use the same towers as the big guys, so you'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Our plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
You so far? Making sense of your world.
Thank you for what you do.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
You give me hope.
Making sense of the news.
Tracking this, there's a large police presence, I'm reading online here, in Salem, New Hampshire. Just stick with me. And let's see. Boston 25 reporter Bob Ward cited law enforcement sources. The search for the suspect in the Brown University mass shooting and the Brookline murder is centered on Salem, New Hampshire. Officials yet to make a statement, of course. Flight radar maps showed at least 3 helicopters circling over the Woodham-Salem area near the Merrimack River. Reports further cited police scanners to add that officers are looking for a Nissan Sentra. The information is not verified. Meanwhile, several news publications reported that investigators are examining the possible connection between last weekend's deadly shooting at Brown and the killing of the MIT professor 2 days later near Boston. The suspect has been identified according to reports. Stick with me. I'm looking at these up-to-date, on-the-scene reports. This is what I do. It's very important. Let's see here. Let's see. Just stick with me. All right. That's all they have right now. But there's a lot of activity. They have found the abandoned vehicle of the suspect. A lot of activity in Salem. I read elsewhere that it's activity near a warehouse. So you have the helicopters and you have a very significant police presence in that area. So that's the up-to-date. And I'm going to keep my eyes on this and I will update you as events warrant. I'm not going to repeat the same thing again and again, but as events warrant, I will inform you about what's taking place here. Let me check one other place that I go to for good information. You know, it's interesting during the Boston Marathon murders. Somehow, Mr. Producer, we were listening in on the police scanner, weren't we? And we were doing that publicly because we knew that the killers were not listening in on the police scanner or radio. They were on the run. And we were giving block by block coverage and so forth. We don't have access to that now, of course. But and we would never do it in a way that would harm the pursuit. And it didn't harm the pursuit. I feel like we should have gotten a Pulitzer Prize for that, Rich. I mean, that'll never happen again. That'll never happen on radio again. But they left their scanner on, and it was Guns who tapped into it. And he would provide me with the constant update, and I would report it on radio without giving locations, of course. And it was crazy, but it was also very important and very, very interesting. All right, let me check one other thing here, if I might. This is live radio. This is what we do. That's why it's best to be live and not delayed or anything of the sort, because we know what we're doing here. Hold on one second. Looking here. Incoming. Let's see. No, it's just more reports of significant police activity in Salem, New Hampshire. Well, if you're living in Salem, New Hampshire, you better lock your door. That's for sure. All your doors and your windows. And we're heard in Salem, New Hampshire. We're heard everywhere. And let me say this to the shooter. You're going to get caught. Not that you're listening to my show, but you're going to get caught. So you might as well surrender and deal with it. Because otherwise you might get popped. So they know who they're looking for. They have the car. They're centered in Salem, New Hampshire right now. Heavy police presence, including helicopters and I guess they have their SWAT teams there. I'm just guessing. Certainly would. And the reporting is that the murder of the 2 students, the shooting of 9 others at Brown University, is linked to the murder of this nuclear expert from MIT. Now, this guy was so big and so good that he had 250 researchers reporting to him, Mr. Producer. 250. He's 47 years old with a wife and a son, I believe. So that's a big deal. And the professor, as I've explained before, at Brown, that specific class that was targeted was Jewish, is Jewish, taught classes in Israel. Her class at Brown was Judaic studies, among other things, in the Middle East. And 11 students shot, 2 murdered, and 1 is a young lady who was the vice president of the College Republicans, who, according to a classmate, was known for being very conciliatory and trying to work with other students, to try and can we all get along type situations. That's all we know right now. They did find live rounds in the classroom, so that helped with the DNA. I suspect that was a key thing. There's a lot of things to be learned from this. First of all, these colleges and universities are pathetic. Most of them don't have enough cameras, if any cameras, on campus. Well, as you know, just by watching TV shows, police shows, those cameras are essential. They're crucial. And for the safety of the students, you'd think they'd have them, but you have these quote-unquote human rights groups. In the case of Brown a few months earlier, 34 of them wrote a letter to the president of that university complaining about any of the cameras and so forth. So what happened? Did she remove them? I don't know. But the lunatic left causes a lot of harm, a lot of violence, a lot of death in its various forms and so forth. There was supposed to be a press conference at 4 p.m. They canceled it for obvious reasons, and now that's what, 3.5 hours ago? So they're on this guy. They're going to get this guy or guys, and we will find out if it was some kind of network. Now, if they say it's a lone gunman, see, that doesn't fly anymore, depending on who it is and what they are. Because there are ideologies out there that push a murderous agenda, and maybe one person will do it, or two or three. Lone gunman, we don't see a network. That's the network. The ideology, the pushing of the ideology, and the spending of the money. And I've been calling on Congress now, I don't know how long. We need to cut off foreign money coming into our colleges and universities. We need to track foreign money coming into our country. You know, people talk about our money going to other countries. I am actually more worried about foreign money coming into our country to influence our young people, to create, terrorist acts, criminal, unlawful acts. That's what I'm worried about. What's happening here in America. But maybe I'm just one of a few in that regard. I'm looking again. I don't see anything else. I'm telling you, as soon as something happens, something will happen. Maybe not on my watch, but they're going to happen. Also, armed cops swoop in on men heading to Bondi Beach over fears they planned violent acts days after the terrorist act there. The enemy is on the move. The enemy is on the move. These jihadi Islamists are the enemy. Not because I say so, because they say so. And there's simply no question about this. We'll be right back. Let me ask you something. How many times have you turned on the news and felt you were living in a completely different reality? It's not an accident. There are forces out there rewriting the rules, censoring the facts, and gaslighting the nation. But there's good news. Their grip is slipping. That's right, and we're gaining ground. Levin TV by Blaze TV is where their schemes get exposed and the narratives are dismantled piece by piece. We dig into what they don't want you to know, and we do it without fear or without apology. Blaze TV isn't just a network. That's right. When you subscribe, you're not just signing up for a service, you're joining a movement of people who are informed and ready to take action. So go to blazetv.com/Levin, use promo code Levin, save $20 on your annual subscription. It's only 26 cents a day to help keep truth alive in America. If we don't stand up now, we may not get the chance later. Go to levintv.com/Levin. Join us today. That's levintv.com/LEVIN.
On the BW Parkway in Riverdale, the northbound side is stop and go between 450 and the Beltway. In Greenbelt, the northbound side of the BW Parkway is slow from Nasogata to 197. And in Montgomery County, Inner Loop is jammed up between Rockville Pike and George Avenue. Also on the Inner Loop of the Beltway, you'll find it stop and go between New Hampshire Avenue and the BW Parkway in Prince George's County. And the outer loop of the Beltway in Prince George's County jammed up between the BW Parkway and the Greenbelt Mark Metro Station exit. And now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch 7 forecast.
Tonight, rain after sunset, heavy at times, lows in the 50s. Tomorrow, morning rain, then clearing skies with temperatures falling to the 40s.
The Paul Steffen Home has saved hundreds of women and babies since it began its Save Babies One Mom at a Time mission. To save the baby, we must save the mom too. Please donate today. PaulSteffenHome.org. PaulSteffenHome.org.
Ever wish buying a home was as easy as clicking your heels 3 times? At Northern Credit Union, we know there's no place like home. We offer first-time buyer programs with no closing costs, VA, USDA, season, new construction, and many other loan options. If you're dreaming of home ownership, Northern will help you get into your new home in 3 clicks of your heels. Getting approved is quick and easy, and with our meet or beat rate guarantee, you know you're getting the lowest rate possible. Our team is here to help you along the yellow brick road to home ownership with honest advice, personalized service, and support every step of the way. Click your heels or just call or text, because at Northern, there's no place like home. Northern Credit Union, mortgage magic in the real world. Call or text 315-782-0155 or apply online at mynorthern.com. Federally insured, NCUA, equal housing opportunity.
Verbo's last-minute deals make chasing fresh mountain powder incredibly easy. With thousands of homes close to the slopes, you can get Epic Pow, Freshies, First Traps, and more. Find last-minute deals with the last-minute filter on the app. Book a private vacation rental now at verbo.com.
Thinking about continuing your education? Start with AEPP. We make it easy to find adult education programs that fit your life. Whether it's preparing for your GED, building your reading and writing skills, or discovering apprenticeship opportunities, our programs are always expanding to make sure you receive the personalized support, flexibility, and options that work for you and your future. Learn more today at nysep.gov/adulted. A message from the New York State Education Department.
This holiday, begin your journey to joy at Jared Jewelers. From fine jewelry and elegant timepieces to our new exclusive Captivate necklace. Brilliant, timeless, unforgettable. Shop all your holiday jewelry gifts at your local Jared Jewelers.
There's performance. Then there's peak performance. The kind you get with Peak Antifreeze and Coolant. Designed to defy any weather condition and leave all limits behind. No matter what's under the hood, there's a formula made to match. So when you take the wheel, you can count on this. When you peak, you win.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy Truck Z71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
WMAL 3811.
All right, here's another update, best I've got. It comes from Boston 25 News, which is on the spot. They've learned that there's law enforcement activity, of course, that you know. Boston 25 News photojournalists saw FBI agents, Providence Police, and members of state police. It's New Hampshire State Police surrounding a location in Salem, New Hampshire, shortly before 7 p.m. They're not going to show the images. It's believed it's some kind of a warehouse. I'm just looking. They were, let's see, centered around a vehicle of a similar make and model that was allegedly seen in the area of the MIT professor's murder in Brookline. The police activity is ongoing as they search for the suspected shooter. I suspect, as I read here, maybe, I don't know, but at this point I suspect they know exactly where this known shooter is because they have an arrest warrant. And I'm just guessing they're trying to get him out of wherever he is, Mr. Producer, wouldn't you? That's probably what's going on. I don't want to speculate, but it's just a matter of logic. So we will see. Again, I will stay focused on this. And Turning Point USA, I know this is all over Fox. Their big annual event the next few days. Opening day is today. Erica Kirk. It's a real class act. Is giving the opening speech. There'll be a whole mix of people there. Catarlson, I happen to think it's a mistake that he's here, to be perfectly honest with you. It's not a matter of hearing all views. All views aren't worth hearing, particularly if your views are neo-fascist, neo-Nazi, in my view. That's what he is. Just my opinion. Qatar is really another issue. And I go on and on and on about this guy, but I'm not going to. You've heard me before. You got Bannon there. Bannon's a crook. He's a confessed crook. I just don't think this is necessarily the best face for young people. And, you know, Erica Kirk, she's trying to hold this together. They have these disparate entities and so forth. So I fully understand this. But I think at some point, they're going to have to figure out how to broom these people away. I have no problem with legitimate debate and discussion. What's not legitimate is people who lie about facts, people who lie about history, and people who are bigots and racists and Christian haters and Jew haters. That to me is a problem. And I won't platform people like that. I never have. You have some hosts out there, some guys, particularly the podcast types who need subscribers and eyes and all the rest of it. That's all they do. And then they pretend they're angry. They bring them on to yell at them. Well, what is it? In other words, let me put it to you this way. There's too many Jerry Springers out there. And the difference is Jerry Springer at least had some level of a moral code. But these people do not. So they've turned podcasting into worse than Jerry Springer. And you really can't do that in conservative talk radio. People aren't going to put up with it. The audience is very smart. The affiliates don't want anything to do with that. Neither do I, as somebody who's done this for a little while. But, you know, intellectual pornography, it's not even intellectual, is not something that I think we want our kids listening to and our kids listening to, and how it pollutes their minds and so forth. It rots their minds. And also this stuff, you know, how it's turned on America and so forth. I'm not into that. Kamala Harris is on with Jimmy Kimmel. She's a poor loser, and she's a loser. Emphasize the word loser. And these attacks on Trump are really, they're just nonstop, no matter what he does, whether it's to upgrade the White House and have a ballroom on the east part of the White House, something they desperately need and have needed for decades, and he has the guts to do it and to raise the private funds to do it. Or securing the border and trying to deport illegal immigrants, particularly criminals and would-be terrorists. He's attacked for that. He's attacked for trying to push the radical left ideology out of our bureaucracy, out of our schools, out of the private sector, those parts of the private sector that receive federal government money. And I could go on. And he's attacked for these things. Barack Obama was, you know, he was naming battleships after all kinds of leftists and so forth, and carriers. And Donald Trump wants to rename the Kennedy Center, and you would have thought the sky is falling. Well, why can't he? Some people say he needs to focus on the big things. Well, you always focus on the big things, but Trump focuses on big and little things. And you know what's interesting? It reminds me of Rudy Giuliani as mayor of New York. He focused on the big things and the little things. The squeegee guys were thrown out of the streets because they were disrupting the quality of life. Those are little guys, little things, right? So the little things do affect people. So everything that's named shouldn't be of a Democrat or a leftist or something like that. And I have found Trump in so many respects, not in all, but in so many respects, to be more conservative than people who claim to be conservative. He's culturally very conservative. Culturally very conservative, in my view. So Kamala Harris is on with Jimmy Kimmel. Cut 3, Mr. Producer, go.
There is nothing normal about what we are experiencing. And I think it's really important for us to remember we cannot normalize this. And frankly,
I would just say, I don't care that she's a woman. I don't care that she's Indian and African American. None of that. She's an idiot. She's an idiot. I can't even stand listening to her. Let's listen to some of it. Go ahead.
We are clear-eyed about what is wrong and corrupt and callous and incompetent about this administration. We also must remember when we are talking about that, and the people of America deserve better.
What does that even mean? The people of America voted for him and not you. That's the truth. We're going to take a little bit of an early break, Mr. Producer. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Ever wish buying a home was as easy as clicking your heels 3 times? At Northern Credit Union, we know there's no place like home. We offer first-time buyer programs with no closing costs, VA, USDA, seasonal, new construction, and many other loan options. If you're dreaming of home ownership, Northern will help you get into your new home in 3 clicks of your heels. Getting approved is quick and easy, and with our meet or beat rate guarantee, you know you're getting the lowest rate possible. Our team is here to help you along the yellow brick road to home ownership with honest advice, personalized service, and support every step of the way. Click your heels or just call or text, because at Northern, there's no place like home. Northern Credit Union, mortgage magic in the real world. Call or text 315-782-0155 or apply online at mynorthern.com. Federally insured, NCUA, equal housing opportunity.
This holiday, begin your journey to joy at Jared Jewelers. From fine jewelry and elegant timepieces to our new exclusive Captivate necklace. Brilliant, timeless, unforgettable. Shop all your holiday jewelry gifts at your local Jared Jewelers.
The holidays are all about connection. Good food, good friends, and those cozy moments. This season, skip boring mocktails and celebrate with RK, the world's first zero-proof spirits. All the taste and warmth of your favorite holiday pours with zero alcohol, zero guilt, and the patented warm molecule for that festive kick. Perfect for toasting, hosting, or gifting. Celebrate freely with RK Zero Proof. Visit rkbeverages.com.
Does anyone feel like life is busier than ever, especially with the holidays? I'm a planner and try to think of it all, but what about the unexpected? Now I've got that covered. My husband and I finally got life insurance with SelectQuote, and I couldn't believe how easy and affordable it was. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. This holiday season, I feel a little lighter, knowing my family is protected and ready for whatever the new year throws our way.
Go to SelectQuote.com for your free quote. That's SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. Details on sample rate at SelectQuote.com.
DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid, if you didn't go telling everyone that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices, we'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or at DSW.com. Let us surprise you.
Cold comes swiftly to the Ukraine, and for elderly Jews like Olga, it can be deadly. Olga's 79 years old. She lives in a small village where she has no indoor plumbing, bathroom, or reliable heating. But thanks to the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, Olga received a nourishing food box, emergency lighting, and a warm blanket. This aid is a life-saving gift for someone like Olga. Now, as another brutal winter begins, thousands of elderly Jews like Olga are praying for a miracle. You can be that miracle. You can be that blessing through a special matching grant from now until December 28th. Your gift today to the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews has twice the impact, up to the first $50,000. So please don't delay. To rush your tax-deductible gift, call 844-866-IFCJ. That's 844-866-IFCJ. Or online at levinforthefellowship.org. That's Levin for thefellowship.org.
Making sense of your world.
I can't believe this.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
And I am so with you.
Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of the vote. Because elections have consequences. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
There's much confusion in the world today. It can be hard to find clarity and truth. A new Hillsdale College mini-series on colonial America offers a powerful reminder. The first Americans were searching for the same things. The brand new 6-part documentary series, Hillsdale College professors will teach you the religious, political, cultural, and economic ideas that shaped a uniquely American culture during the colonial period. You'll learn why the idea of liberty, especially religious liberty, inspired the settlers of America to cross the Atlantic. Americans organized local governments, and why America has always been a land where virtue can lead to peace and prosperity. Now, this Hillsdale College miniseries is completely free, and it's easy to access. Plus, Hillsdale offers more than 40 other free online courses, including a course on C.S. Lewis, the stories in the book of Genesis, the rise and fall of the Roman Republic. So go right now to levinforhillsdale.com to enroll. That's Levin for Hillsdale.com. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. That's levinforhillsdale.com to register for free. Levin for Hillsdale.com. One moment, please. Now, President of the United States, Venezuela is killing Americans. That's what it's doing. President's trying to do something about it. And he comes under all this grief. Here we have Gregory Meeks. We haven't heard from him in a long time, Democrat, New York. He's on CNN today. What's he doing? What's he say about the effort to save Americans? So many Americans dying from drugs being pushed by Venezuela. Cut 7, go.
What comes after? What is the plan? There's none of that. And do you come to Congress? Because Congress is the one that's responsible for determining when we go to war or not.
No, Congress is not. Congress doesn't make war. The president makes war. Congress can cut it off. Congress can defund it. But when you look at the actual Constitution and you actually read what was intended, not the efforts by Congress to seize power from the president, and that's what I'm talking about, the War Powers Act of 1973 and so forth, which no president has felt was constitutional. And serious constitutional scholars know is not constitutional, but then again, they're few and far between. It's not your job to make military decisions, and the most important one, war. That's simply not the case. And I've explained this before. The framers looked at the language. They originally said Congress would have the power to make war, and then they said, whoops, that's a mistake. They hit the brakes, and they said declare war. The president is the commander-in-chief. So what happens is, in the public arena, and they are repeated enough where people believe they're true, including the people repeating them. It's not true. Go ahead.
Your case as to why you want to do this, but I think that from his statements alone, it tells you this is about oil. He wants to take the oil in Venezuela, make some deals. So
where does he get this from, other than the far recesses of his very small mind? Where does he get that from? And he wants to take oil, and he later says, and enrich his family and his buddies. I mean, just so stupid, actually. And it's simply not true either. He's made it clear what he wants to do, and he means it, which is to save American lives. And that's very, very important. You know, the president gave a speech the other day, as you well know. We were listening to it. And I turned to my wife, I said, I'm liking this speech. Maybe it didn't start out with a bang, but it ended with it. And when you look at the speech in its entirety, I like the speech. What was the purpose of the speech? He's laying out the things that he accomplished in his first year in office. It's an end of the year speech. And I think it was smart for him to do that, because if he doesn't do it, who else is going to do it? The networks? MS Now? The Constipated News Now? Who's going to do it? Nobody. So he did it. And his audience is not intended to be the media. It's not intended to be his critics who are obsessed with attacking him. His audience was you. Reaching you, talking to you directly. So I happen to think it was excellent, and it was excellent that he did it. And to be truthful, I think he should do it more often. I don't mean every week, every 3 or 4 months, because it's the best way to communicate with the American people as far as I'm concerned. Chuck Schumer on the floor of the Senate today, complete buffoon. Cut 12, go.
The president last night, Donald Trump gave a speech about how supposedly great his first year has been. So,
well, if his first year wasn't great from our perspective, you and me, Mr. and Mrs. America, and certainly his perspective, then why do they keep attacking him? If he's a failure, if he's a loser, if he doesn't accomplish things, if he's not a success at the things he's promised, at the things he wants to accomplish, then they wouldn't be attacking him, would they, Mr. Producer? So they attack him. On the one hand, they say he's destroying the government. No, he's not. He's trying to bring it back to its original purpose. He's destroying the left-wing control over the government and the left-wing influence over the government. But he's not destroying the constitutional government. He's strengthening it. But my point is, if he was a loser, if he wasn't accomplishing things and doing things each and every day, they wouldn't be attacking him so much, would they? Go ahead.
because there's really not much to say about how great Trump has been. For 18 months, for 18 minutes, the president
is fundamental, Schmuck. Go ahead.
To convince Americans the sky is green, that trees can walk. He yelled at the camera.
I wonder who wrote this. It sounds like a third grade. You talk about a poor speed. Listen to this one. This is sophomoric. It's pathetic. Go ahead.
And said that things are...
Shut up, you idiot. I've had enough of you. Better look over your shoulder. AOC, Sandy, she might take you out. You never know. Sandy is unbelievable. As a consumer, you can carry the success or failure of businesses in the palm of your hand. Their success can depend on your decision to spend money with them or their competitor. And my friends at Pure Talk would like to say something to you. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of their hearts for choosing Pure Talk for your wireless needs. Because of you, they've had a record-breaking year. Because of your generosity, through their Roundup for Charity program, they've been able to donate over $500,000 to America's Warrior Partnership that stands on the front lines of helping to prevent veteran suicide. Your patronage has allowed Pure Talk to donate 1,000 hand-sewn, made-in-America flags to your fellow veterans. When you choose Pure Talk as your wireless provider, you help Pure Talk support American jobs. And like I said, as a consumer, you have the power to make or break companies.